Good morning again, everybody. Again, I have to express my gratitude for these opportunities to work through things that I am thinking about in the context of this incredible community that we have co-created. I really find this very useful thinking through these things, and I'm glad it provides some value to y'all too. So, one of the things that I have been thinking about a lot lately is especially the AI revolution, plus the revolution in biotechnology that's happening at the same time, and what that kind of means for me, for my work, for my life, and what it means for us. And after a conversation earlier this week with Willis, I really started gelling that into these few words that I'm grateful you all will listen to and be in conversation with me about. So I titled this May You Live in Interesting Times. And I think we are certainly living in interesting times. The saying is attributed to Chinese curse, in fact, but it has a double meaning. We want you to live in times that are not boring, that are engaging, but interesting times are also dangerous and difficult. And I think we all recognize that we are clearly living in times that are transformative in ways that's going to be hard to understand. Obviously, I'm referring a lot to the AI conversation that I am trying to be a part of. Even in the last week, I've had conversations with several of you about this incredible pace of technological change. In one conversation that I recorded and some of you have seen, Tony and I talked about an idea that he had, and we worked through together how the technology could have an impact upon that. Some of you have seen even this morning how I have turned a couple of photographs into videos using another technology that's interesting. We have explored together how artificial intelligence is impacting everything that we do. And these conversations aren't just side notes, they're a reflection of the moment. It reminds me, and I hope reminds us as elders, that we have to engage with these changes, not only for our sake, but for those who are looking to us for guidance. So, the words of the Apostle Paul in Second Corinthians, we are troubled on every side, yet not distressed, sound familiar to me in this moment. We are facing challenges that we could not have anticipated, yet we have to find a way not to be distressed by them because we remember that we are equipped to survive them and even lead through them. Our societies, I think in particular African American society, is built on a foundation laid by our ancestors, but it also craves stability. I think about my grandfather often, who made his living as a tobacco farmer and probably knew 80 to 90% of what he ever needed to know about tobacco farming by the time he was 15 or 16 years old, and almost certainly was well into the 90% by the time he was 25 or 26. But we live in an era where change is not just constant, it's exponential. The structures and institutions we've relied upon are challenged, sometimes even dismantled by these technological tsunamis. This is where I think our journey of elderhood faces its greatest test. We who have assumed the mantle of leadership, we who aspire to being subjunctive in our interactions, need to be attuned to the needs of our community as we help to navigate for ourselves these turbulent waters. Of course, before we can guide others, we have to come grips with how these revolutions impact us personally. We have to ask ourselves, how are we going to adapt? How are we going to grow? What if we approach these changes not with fear, but with curiosity? I feel like we are player coaches. We haven't left the field, but our most important roles are now about guidance. That's the weird thing about this interstitial space that we occupy. We have to figure it out for ourselves, even as we provide a model. So as AI challenges our notions of what intelligence means, what creativity, even consciousness, it promises to automate tasks we used to think only humans could do. As elders, we have to ask ourselves, how do we find our place in a world where machines can outthink us? How do we guide the young people who look to us for guidance to develop skills that complement rather than compete with artificial intelligence? Just as we are personally grappling with these implications, I think we really have to focus on helping younger generations navigate them as well. These demonstrations that I offer to this community and to others are really not just about showing off what AI can do, but even as I think we have to stay abreast of it, they're really about sparking a deeper understanding of how these tools can be used for good, used for our purpose, used for our community's mutual purpose. How we can leverage them to solve problems, how they might help to build the better future. These are not easy questions, and they leave me feeling, as Paul says, troubled on every side and perplexed. And I work hard, though, to not be distressed and not in despair. And I think that's because our strength, our resilience comes not from our ability to predict or control the future, but from our faith, our collective wisdom, and our community. Our journey of elderhood is really about assuming the mantle not for our own glory, but for times just as these. When our people need guidance, hope, and a steady hand, and we have to figure out how to provide it, when we need guidance, hope, and our hands are not always steady. I think this conversation we've been having about elders reminds me that our role is not to have all the answers, but maybe we can model how to live with the questions, how to adapt without losing our core values, how to embrace change without being swept away by it. How do we show our communities how to be persecuted but not forsaken, cast down but not destroyed? Practically, I think a couple of things will have to characterize our interaction. The first is really embracing lifelong learning. The specific skills we have learned and even built careers around might become obsolete, but our ability to learn and adapt will not. We have to do this for ourselves and model it for the young people in our lives. Secondly, we have to keep fostering human connections. As the technology advances, our uniquely human qualities like empathy and moral reasoning and potential for spiritual growth become even more precious. And we have to create spaces for genuine human interaction and understanding. And I'm grateful that this community has been that for me. We also have to, thirdly, engage with the change. I don't believe we can stop the tide of progress, but we can help to shape its direction. We can actively participate in the moment, in the discussions. We can be the voices of ethics, policy, and shaping the directions. And in our own ways, I think we each have to do that. We do that while, in the fourth place, maintaining perspective. The pace of change often feels overwhelming, but we have to remind ourselves and our families and our communities that we have faced challenges before and overcome them. And the community that we all share together has faced more challenges and overcome them with more style than others have. And I believe we can do that too. I think we have to anchor our exploration of these things in timeless values. I think our spiritual and moral foundations become even more crucial. And these eternal truths, as we understand them, have to be where the stability is that we need as we try to figure this out. I think we have to each commit to saying to the men and women looking to us for guidance things like this: your worth is not measured by your ability to outpace machines, but by your capacity to bring humanity to a world that desperately needs it. And we have to say to ourselves, let us embrace these interesting times, not with fear, but with faith, not with resignation, but with resolve. Let us be the steady hand that guides our communities through the storm. This is why we have assumed the mantle of elderhood and why it has been granted to us. This essence of elderhood in these transformative times allows us to stand firm and to try at least to be a beacon of wisdom and hope, and to help our people, however we define that, find meaning and purpose in this shifting world. The alternative is to devolve into the easy fundamentalisms that others are embracing, pretending that there was a moment that people call the good old days when things were easy for us. That never existed. Pretending that answers are easy and absolute as opposed to questions being constant and constantly evolving. Let's resist that and lean into these changes as much as we can. I want us, brothers, to face these interesting times troubled but not distressed, perplexed but not in despair, remembering that we are not alone. We stand in and among a long line of ancestors who faced their own interesting times with courage and faith. We stand together as a community of elders ready to face whatever comes. So I invite you to join me in this affirmation. As an elder in these interesting times, I commit to facing change with courage and wisdom. I will guide with understanding, lead with adaptability, and always point towards the timeless values that anchor us amidst the storms of change. May my life and leadership help our community not just to survive, but to thrive in this new world. Though troubled, I am not distressed. Though perplexed, I am not in despair. For I stand firm in the knowledge that we are not forsaken, and that together we cannot be destroyed. I embrace the ongoing journey of elderhood, continually growing in wisdom and service to my people. If you agree, signify by saying amen, ashe, and so it is.
And so it is.
So it is.
Ashe, so it is.
Thank you.
Man, you rock, Jeff, for real.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, bro.
By the way, just before I came on, I asked ChatGPT to create a background
I see it.
appropriate to this message, and this is what it did.
You got what, the tree of
Nice.
wisdom or the tree of life back there?
I think it's interesting. But
Hey,
again,
thank you so much, Jeff. I gotta, once again, I just hope you know, how nice it is to have another brother on this chat that's compelled to share some words. I know it probably seems odd to put someone on the spot to do something like this, but I hope that both you and John understand like how special it is to have one of us that is willing to contribute in this way. And I know all the brothers feel the same way.